has spider DNA, right?
Yeah. Well, no, it's in the. I thought the thingamajig gave him the powers. The. Oh yeah. Sorry, no. I'm thinking of something else.
Episodes where he gives blood transfusions to so many people, and they end up getting spider powers, and it's never come back to whatsoever.
Yeah.
The show. Oh, the show. Hi everybody, and welcome to another episode of Trip Around Multiverse with your host, the man who is Friends of the Youth, Kyle Charles, and
the show that keeps on using the same footage when I jump into my giant robot, CY Chung.
And today, we were tasked. Well, not when you decided. Hey.
Oh, hold on. You thrown it on me, but you did say. You say you don't watch stuff from the 70s, right? Or a certain point because you like it's too retro for you. You can't handle the retroness, the oldness, all right? No. But you said you give the opportunity for Toei 70s Spider-Man to impress you, which you're telling me also it did not. Now you thrown it back to me.
No, so I'm blaming this all on you. Yes, we are a show. Well, I don't know why they made this. I think Marvel was desperate for money at the time and just threw it at Japan. I was like, yeah, we can do something with this. We have a mid-season break between shooting Super Sentai, and we'll be reviewing Toei's Spider-Man. Yes.
Yeah. So I do believe, if I've read correctly, this is what started the Super Sentai jumping into robots thing.
Really?
Yeah.
Random.
Okay, you know what I do? Okay. Now, what I do like about this series is when they say, oh yeah, we're going to make a Spider-Man TV series, right? We're not going to take anything from the American comics, which was in 1962, right? So then you're like 13, 14
years old at the time?
Yeah, at the point. They're like, nah, screw that, right? Not in a bad way, but just like, well, no, we're going to make something completely different. And they went about it.
Yeah,
that way.
They went a way.
And there's no comparison you can say to that, right? To the comics, because it's not trying to adapt it. It's just like woof, something wholly new out of the ether, and you're like, and I'm actually impressed of what they did with with the license they got.
Yeah, I'll give them that. I'll give them like creativity. I'll give them that. But this. I can honestly tell you, right?
Yeah.
Every episode just blended into one. The ones I watched blended into one. I couldn't, I vaguely remember plots of most of them, but then they all are literally the same thing.
It's true.
The same exact way. He happens to do something, and also, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Before we get into it,
Go on.
Did this seem like the creators of this were on drugs?
Okay, now there is a certain amount of strangeness going on here where you're like, because it's like ghost stories and stuff going on, and I have to be like, okay, I don't know if that's just because that's typical of Super Sentai or those adventure series at the time where you have just something that's out there.
Yeah.
But yes. But then again, it was the 70s when we had flares and big bushy hair and the hippie trucks and that stuff like that. So may well could be.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what, it was funny when I was watching it, and I'm sure you saw it enough times when you watch it. So there were times where they'd probably rotate the set so then he could wall crawl, right?
Yeah.
While it's actually flat. But there's other times where where the set was normal.
Yep.
And he jumped towards the wall, and then they'd freeze frame him.
Yeah.
As he just touched the wall.
Yep.
But freeze frame for slightly too long that you knew it was a static shot because it doesn't move or anything. Nothing moves after it touches.
And then it switches him like jumping off. You're like, wait, what? Why did you jump on the wall in the first place?
Look, there's certain amount of this where I'm like, right, okay. Okay. Even watching it 50 plus years later, almost 50 years later, and you're like,
Bloody hell, yeah.
all right, that is something. That is something that is, you know.
But then it makes me feel like I've seen other things. Again, we've already spoken how I feel about things from the past.
Yeah.
Other things that came out from that time, like they look so much better than this.
Yes,
It seems
yes.
like someone's like college project, and like, oh, okay, hey, I got a few friends. We've got a shoestring budget. Let's make something, and it's literally. Like, don't get me wrong, right? Some of the monster designs are pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
then 99% of them are pointless. Like the monsters
Yeah,
are pointless
yeah,
in general.
yeah.
It's like,
Wait. But isn't that for all Sentai?
yeah,
All Super
all Sentai.
Sentai.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know we watched all the Power Rangers to review, yeah. But how many times are those monsters like?
Yeah.
You gotta like the stuff, the Super Sentai they did back then is always consistent because we reviewed 60. Well, I mean, I saw 6 seasons of Power Rangers, and you saw how many plus, right?
Yeah.
We watched VR Troopers, yeah.
Yeah.
So all that stuff, even though years later, is still similar across the board.
It's like a Formula A thought never change, and they haven't.
Yeah.
they really haven't. But there's just something about it. At least I'll give actually I can't say. I'm gonna say at least with Power Rangers, sometimes they gave the like monsters a bit of a personality or something like that. But
Yeah. So like you say from the very beginning ish, the only reason we watched this is because of Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Comics in 2014 was
14, yeah. Yep.
And then the Emissary of Evil, and then you're like, wait a minute, no, the Emissary from Hell, and you're like, hey,
okay.
what?
Okay.
Yeah, but he's not an emissary from Hell, so
no, that's another. When I saw the show, I was like, I'm confused by this.
They were, yeah. It's not as.
He's not
so when you're just reading the Spider-Verse comics, you're like, okay, where is this from? Where's the origin? And when you watch the origin, it's way much more mundane. It's just like they came from the Spider Planet, they hit and the dude finds the stuff. And
we should talk about it in a minute. Yeah,
go.
Like the whole premise of the show. So I don't know how you say the main characters. We're gonna say, okay, Peter Parker. I'm just it's gonna be easy for me to remember, right?
Japanese equivalent of Peter Parker, even though he isn't, right?
Yeah. No way.
No. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just say Peter Parker, but he's not even the equivalent of Peter Parker because his life is not like Peter Parker. But just for the sake of ease,
he almost dies, and then an alien from like you said, the planet Spider, gives him this bracelet, or puts a bracelet around his arm that injects him with spider DNA, alien spider DNA, I will say.
Yeah,
and then. He wakes up from not dying, and then has a little brief moment with the guy like, "Hey, by the way, I gave you this, and you're now the Spider-Man. I'm going to die now," and just fades away. Like,
yeah.
Oh,
Not even none of that Uncle Ben. Oh, great viral, great responsibility. None of that. It's just like, gonna get thrown in the deep end and
make up
peace out.
Along. Yeah. Okay. And the guy didn't come back either. Like, say like in other shows where they have like the ghost of that person, like giving them like
I think they do show it. There's an episode where they do show a flashback, but to be fair, that might be in the clip episode as well. So
and then like all of a sudden he's just like the great Spider-Man, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, wait,
yeah
okay, sure.
This reminds me a lot of bits of VR Troopers where you get the goons that come out of nowhere to fight, and they always look the same.
yeah, that's another thing. And I forgot one of the plot points was his dad dies, isn't it? Yeah, I thought it about that at the beginning, and it's like briefly mentioned throughout the show, like, oh yeah, I'll avenge you, person who I think's my dad, or is his dad, but it's just like a throwaway thing. Like, like Spider-Man and other stuff, they're like, yeah, it's constant mention of that person who died, who was a part of their life. This is literally just like, yeah, okay, dad died.
Yeah.
Which is like,
hey, look, it is what it is. After watching so much of Power Rangers and VR Troopers, I have to say, when I say it is what it is, I don't mean that you got to accept what I'm saying, or the program is. and you got to be happy with what you get, right?
Yeah.
No, it's just like when you're used to the strangeness that goes on, it doesn't phase you. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And I kind of give it slightly away because it's from the 70s, so I give it slightly away. Like it was ahead of its time. No, I wouldn't say it's ahead of its time. But
what did you think of how they changed it? Like, okay, a lot of things have changed. So when I see individual bits and pieces, I'll ask you of how. First of all, the wackiness with him having a giant robot. We don't worry about that because Super Sentai,
yeah.
We just accept it,
Accept it.
Even though Spider-Man doesn't have a car, actually, Peter Parker does have original US Peter Parker. He does have the Spider-Mobile, right?
Yeah.
But Japanese Peter Parker doesn't. He has some car that then turns into leopardon, right?
Yeah.
Takuyuda?
Takuya. Yeah, Takuya. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll just call it, yeah.
Yeah.
And they just keep using the same footage again and again. I'm like, all right, well,
Yeah.
I mean, look, the episodes are 22 minutes long or something like that. It's like, and you've got to still fill in.
Yeah.
You can't film from a different angle, so you can reuse it. Like in the Flash 2014 series, at least they filmed it from different sides, and then they could cut in the footage, Yeah. And they sparingly used it between different episodes, right?
Yeah. But they have no shame in doing it. No shame.
Exactly.
No shame whatsoever. And the one thing, like, okay, I can allow the giant mech robot to a certain extent, right? But why?
To a certain extent, how do you mean?
Like, it's not a spider themed. You know what I mean? That's what I'm like.
Oh, okay, I get you.
This is, if it was spider themed, they're like called Spider Pardon or whatever. But it's called Leopardon. When I hear the word Leo, I just think of like tiger or a cat. You know what I mean? Like a
lion. Yeah.
So that's always threw me off. Like, that's weird.
Yeah. You got a point there. Because it's not as if he's shooting spider-based webs or anything like that.
No.
Like his shield is not like.
There's no connection.
No.
whatsoever. That's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, they were gonna make a Sentai series at that point, right?
Yeah.
And Marvel just threw money. Like, hey, you know what?
Or Japan decided they were going to buy the license or whatever, right? But yes, you're right. Whatever they're going to make, they were going to make. It seems.
Yeah.
Whether it's Spider-Man or not, they kind of just shifted it over to made it. I don't want to speak, right?
Yeah.
But I think they were going to make. Did they try and make a Captain America one? But that wouldn't make sense because then he'd be in Japan, and then he'd be Captain Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm thinking I'm off key there, right? But
I would believe it.
Yeah.
I would believe that it would have been a thing. Yeah.
Well, Captain Japan, but Captain America, but in Japan.
Yeah, I'll write some weird way to explain it, which would probably make it even worse. But yeah, I reckon that would have been awesome. It would have been great.
Yeah. Well, we did get Captain New Japan, and Prince Divot wasn't happy about that.
Yeah,
so.
Captain New Japan. Yeah. Oh, I didn't say the explicit word, but yeah, it's. So yeah, that's weird about it, right?
Yeah. You don't mind that he's not a photographer. He's actually he tried. Yeah, he's a motorcyclist of some sort.
But how's he making money? Like, that's another thing. Like
I think he's seems like some sort of engineer.
Okay.
Yeah, so a mechanic, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he loves to drive his motorcycle around. So, but I don't know if it's like one of those things because you don't see him.
No.
Actually, you see him fixing his motorcycle, and occasionally doing stuff on his motorcycle.
Yeah.
But then if you're asking me, what is his actual job?
Yeah,
he could be a motorcyclist. He could be a mechanic. He could be a jobless bum going to college or whatever for all we know. Because it's one of those things where you don't actually see him do certain things. Like no one gives him money or pays him for whatever.
Like you see, like his sister. I think that's his sister, right?
Yeah, his little sister goes to school. Yeah,
she goes and like she's a photographer and stuff. Like she does something. So you know what her like job and stuff is. You know what her little brother does because he goes to school. But what does he do?
Yeah. He apparently he gets beat up and then there's the tale of the day, where you learn a lesson or something like that, right?
which is always terrible. Like it's just it shows.
Yeah.
Oh.
But you also but you wouldn't recommend anyone to watch this. As much as wait, take away your bias. Take away I see your bias of the shows that Beyond Your Time that you don't like.
Yeah,
so much,
yeah,
right?
I'll take that away. Yeah.
But even if you were just basing on what it is, other than if someone was like, "Oh yeah, I read Spider-Verse and I'm curious about the Emissary of Evil Spider-Man," right?
Yeah.
Would you say don't bother?
Say if you've got spare time,
okay,
and nothing else to do, and
all right, with your life, yeah,
yeah, and you can switch off your brain and watch it, then yeah. Like I wouldn't say go out and look for this or like buy it. No, like if it's just a bit of fun, watch it once in your life and that's it. That's how I feel.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, no, I get that.
Like,
I mean, would you say it was a shame it only lasted one season, which was like 40+ episodes, or would you say, you know what, it kind of ended where it needed to end?
It overstayed as well, if I'm honest.
Well, to be fair, what more story is there to tell with this?
Yeah.
Usually, in Japanese series, you know, when you watch anime and stuff, they usually, as far as the serialized version is, because sometimes the mangas go on for ages. We know that One Piece and Naruto and but something like Cowboy Bebop just is like one season. Done. So and sometimes they just and that's it. One season, and then they somehow still make mass merch of it. I mean, but hey, like Death Note as well.
Yeah,
hey.
But it's like with this, how far could they really go without? Because we have to get to the point where you will actually have to start using like Spider-Man. Like villains and stuff like that. You can't just keep just random crab man of the week. And you know,
to be fair, there is a random crab man.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like that. How sort of far can you go with it?
Yeah. Well, when you were watching it, were you thinking, "Oh, Mike, were you going to see some Spider-Man enemies in this, or were you clear in your mind? This is not a Spider-Man adaptation. This is just a bunch of people that have licensed the Spider-Man IP. I won't even say identity, right? The costume, essentially. That's all they license, the name of the costume. And they go about doing their own thing.
Kind of.
Yeah.
I was halfway through like, maybe they might throw someone random in there or make a reference. No. Not at all. But,
yeah.
Okay. They could have made it like, oh yeah, there's, or even from like Peter Parker's name in it. You know, it's random. They could something random to like make it feel more.
No, I do. I like that it was completely like if you're gonna be different, go completely different. And this was completely different. It's not exactly, for example, if they've got Batman, right, and you expect Batman to be Bruce Wayne or whatever, right, and all that stuff, yeah. But if they made Batman and he was just like the Stanley Imagine series, yeah. Where I was gonna say, if they took Batman and Batman was black. Yeah. Then you don't expect him to be necessarily Bruce Wayne.
Not
even Wayne Bruce, right? Just someone else completely different, right?
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of though, have you read this Stanley? Just Imagine. Just Imagine Stanley. Is that what it's called? The series?
Was that the one where
DC where he recreates the DC universe?
No, I haven't read it. I've looked. I flicked through it. I didn't read it.
Yeah. So essentially, for that, right? And I've read them. Yeah. It's good. I know the gimmick is Stan Lee's creating the DC universe, but he takes it and makes it like it's not like simply we're just going to rearrange these characters as though Stan Lee is writing by Stan Lee's style of dialogue. And even though it's written in the mid-90s, so it wouldn't exactly be the same as if he did in the 60s or 30s if it was Batman and Superman, right?
Yeah.
But he just makes them completely different, and you're like, okay. This is a take that I know is an alternative version, rather than, for example, and then sometimes we slate the guy and sometimes we give him his props. But Zack Snyder is just like, let me take these characters, and then decide what I'm going to do for my version of these characters, forget all the history of the actual characters.
Which I respect.
And then you're like, well,
Yeah.
And then you get people saying, some people of the opinion Batman should kill, and some people of the opinion Batman shouldn't kill.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, if he kills, then he's a hypocrite. But then again, if he's killing killers, wouldn't kill himself, then
yeah.
I know I'm exaggerating on that one, but the point is to say, like, if it's completely different, I think it's more acceptable, because I'm saying we're not adapting this character.
Yeah,
we're adapting the idea of the character.
Yeah, it's a reimagining, even though it's not really.
Yeah. But like you, I wouldn't recommend. I mean, I watched it, but I was like,
yeah.
To be fair, I watched it while I was after I watched them 6 seasons of Power Rangers, 2 seasons of VR Troopers, and then onto this, right? And I'm like, they were just coming in, just like the.
I can imagine that's just merging into one whole big thing of.
Yeah, it's just the same thing in different costumes, and then in different eras.
Yep.
The VR Trooper was masquerading its 90s when they were in the 80s.
The most blatantly one of them.
Yeah.
At least VR Trooper made sense. Did it? It didn't.
I can't even say, by the way, that it for this would, if there was a large myth arc behind it, and you're like, oh yeah, there's there's the B plot that goes around weaving through some episodes, and there's the A plot, right, which is the episode of the day or whatever it is. No, it just seems like, okay, it's the same villains.
Yeah.
Most of the time, right? Because sometimes there's a couple of episodes where they're not related to it.
Yeah.
And and then you're like, all right, but you guys always fail, just like Repulse always fails. So what makes you think?
Like, the one thing I will give it to, like, this show. But then of the ones, like, wow, this is really, like, just messed up.
Yeah.
They're not afraid to kill people?
Oh, yeah.
Dying.
Yeah.
Like,
but then I have to say, that is the benefit of having, if you know you're doing one season, it doesn't matter what happens to the rest of the people within your show, right?
Yeah.
If they die, they die. It's only going to be, like, they're not coming back, and that's that, right? We don't need them back.
It's just, like... Because when I first saw the bad guy shoot these people, I was like, oh, they're just hitting them with, like, stun bullet, whatever, and I was like, they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. And there's like, like one episode where I thought was hilarious, and it was at the end. I was like, oh wow, this is very dark. It's the episode where there's these brothers that are wrestlers, and then one brother gets turned into a monster. as you do, and then. Ends up killing his brother. And then Spider-Man kills him. Because I thought, when he beats him as giant Samson thing, whatever, with leopardon or whatever, that he'll go back to a human. Because that's what happens in Power Rangers, right?
Yeah.
No! This guy's dead. And then Spider-Man's like, you've ruined the family by killing both the brothers. I will make sure you pay. And I'm like, wait. Oh! Yeah. Family genocide, cool. All right, that's that.
Yeah. Speaking of, by the way, and I don't know if you read it, there was a Spider-Man manga that came out roughly the same time this came out. Not adapting this, by the way. The in Spider-Verse days. No. This Spider-Man manga came out in the 1970s, but not around this time.
Yeah.
Remember in Spider-Verse there was a black and white Japanese Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I read it. I read that manga.
Oh, any good?
I read the whole thing, right?
Yeah.
As far as I know, right, it seems to me, someone in Japan was like, for example, right? If I was someone in America and you were in Japan, I'd say, oh yeah, and I have this character and it's based on the real world,
Yeah.
It's so he's got the power of the spider, right? But his life is like a normal person's life. Actually, things usually go wrong with his life. He's like not always happy and stuff like that, right? And he's just kind of the base tone of Peter Parker-ish,
yeah.
Like sometimes his superheroics get in the way of his life, and then his art is frail and all that stuff, right? And you're thinking, oh yeah, it's just how bad how life can be, and being a superhero doesn't actually help it in any way, right? Yeah. Doesn't help you with certain other things, right?
Yeah.
But what you take away from it is so life is depressing, right? Life is depressing. And this guy has powers, right? Yeah. And we just make his life as miserable as possible. I was reading it in the manga and I was like, wow, this guy. The first villain he fights is Electro, but Electro accidentally, because he powers up, right? The scientist, whoever it is, like, is creating Electro, like by giving him the powers for temporary or whatever, yeah? And he fights Spider-Man, and then he tries to zap Spider-Man, but he misses and kills his own, the guy who's giving him the powers, right?
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man punches him, that guy, Electro flies into some electric whatever, right? And he dies. Turns out as Electro is the brother of Spider-Man's friend, female friend, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, I've just killed her brother, and then there's another one where he has to find people end up dying, in Smallville.
Yeah.
When they find out Clark's identity, and they usually die,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What happens here? And all these people, right? All these characters get adapted, right?
Yeah.
Murdered. Well, not murdered, but they die, right?
Yeah.
I think the lizard falls into he's trying to turn people into lizards, like in the thing, but he's a more sinister lizard, right? He just wants to kill everybody as well. Yeah. And he falls into a vat of crocodiles. So, yeah.
Okay, sure.
And then there's stuff about the Yakuza and drugs and all this stuff, and Peter Parker, this guy, I don't want to say his name's not Peter Parker, it's you something, right? But he's just leading such a battered life, right?
Yeah.
That I'm sure he's running through depression. I'm wondering why this guy's not a drug addict and an alcoholic. The life he's running through, and he's a teenager. He's like 16 years old, and it's like, wow, man, the pressures of life. Jeez, it's like someone took away from it. Is Spider-Man's life ain't great, and then they're just like,
you know what? Let's make it 10 times worse.
Yeah. I think So there was a bunch of I don't know if it's the Kendo team, right? They run into a field to try and assault a girl, right? And Spider-Man, in his civilian identity, tries to stop them, right?
Yeah.
And then I think she gets knocked out or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But then she thinks it's him, even though there's a bunch of people that were chasing her before and he wasn't with the group, right? They stop them, and then they're saying it's him.
Yeah.
And he just lets it slide. Like, he didn't even try to say, oh yeah, now for some reason he's like so mentally battered to the point, right?
Yeah.
He decides he's going to join the Kendo team to infiltrate him from within, right? And then have his friend say, no, it wasn't him. I see these guys. I heard that I was there. They admitted what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And then instead of backing his friend up saying, yeah, we got them, he decides to walk away, right? And I'm like, okay, so you're just gonna let everyone know think that you're a molester? What?
Different time?
And then he befriends a Yakuza guy that he has to go and try to save. And then, it was just like, wow, okay, this is something. This is a Spider-Man that is also, and this is in the 70s, by the way. This is only 8 years after, actual Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
But you're like, okay.
Well, I'm pretty sure at that time, Spider-Man's mythology was kind of already taking effect. But
yeah.
Whatever, I guess.
Yeah, I will say, if you read it now, if you think it's an adaptation, for example, as you read it now, you know enough history of Spider-Man, you'll be like, well, just like the thing is with Super Sentai Toei Spider-Man, you could be like, it's an alternative take, and it's not related to Spider-Man whatsoever. It's from a couple of key things, right?
Yeah.
Where this one is like, my life is miserable, and I'm just going to be miserabling around, and it's just like, okay. Yeah, how much more can one man take with
before?
Why don't you just end your life at that point, please?
That's annoying. We're not looking. It
was it's done by the art of the guy who did Brian Freeman, but whose style was different back then. But you can see how it kind of got to that direction. Yeah. However, that's what I'm saying is, wow, I wouldn't. Okay. This is also one of those things, same as Toei Spider-Man. Would I recommend someone read this?
No.
Probably not, actually.
No.
I mean, it's not different enough. I would recommend parts of. So if someone got the Toei Spider-Man and cut it into one movie, right?
Yeah.
Let's just say 2 or 3 hours long because you've got 40 episodes, but they made it into a cohesive movie.
Yeah.
I might say watch that, or maybe they split into 2 movies or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Just to see how different it is, yeah. But this Japanese Spider-Man manga from the 70s, I'd be like, I don't know, because there's nothing about it that makes you think, okay, this is an alternative take which I can get behind. It's just
Yeah,
like, no, there's ghost ladies that try to make him kill other people and then kill himself and then stuff like that, and you're like, wow. Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah, I'm not gonna. All right.
And I believe, I don't know, do you know, how much do you know about Initial D? Have you heard of Initial D?
Yeah, I've heard of Initial D, yeah.
Yeah, and you know how the girlfriend was, had a side gig, if you know what I mean?
No.
In Initial D, what did you watch? The manga?
No,
did you read the manga?
I just
Did
know
you watch
about
the...
it. Like, I've seen the game, and I know there's a manga, and there's like a live action film, or a couple of them. I can't remember.
Okay.
Yeah.
So have you seen that live action film? And you're talking about the Chinese one, right?
I believe
With Jay Chou.
I don't know. I just know there's a film.
Okay. I haven't seen the Japanese one, so I can't say for that one, right? I've seen the Chinese version of Initial D with Jay Chou, and and his girl. Well, the girl that he was trying to get with, and I don't know if it's in the manga as well. She has a sidekick in one of those. You remember the Wolverine?
Yeah.
And you know the hotel that
yeah. Love a hotel.
Yeah. He's one of them working in one of those hotels. Yeah,
She's a working lady. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this Spider-Man, I think his friend, his female friend, the same female friend whose brother, he had debt, right?
Yeah.
And now she's trying to work off the debt by working at a nightclub.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, which like as a waitress or whatever, you know, those girls.
Yeah.
But it's like, well, hold on a minute. If she's a teenager that's going to school with this guy, how can you be going to serving drinks at these clubs to begin with? But whatever, right? Apparently, according to villains, debt is debt, and it doesn't matter how you know.
You know, we're already breaking the law. It is so what's age, consent, got to do anything?
Yeah. So their paths crossed a couple of times. Even though he's like, I can help you, and then she's like, no, you just make things worse. And then she's like, well, you know what? I will have to get behind her because I've seen how you've tried to help as Spider-Man and all the other things, and everyone else keeps on getting murdered. So you know what? Inadvertently, because even though she hasn't seen you do all this stuff, she is right.
Well, yeah.
Whereas if you help, anyone you help seems to be like worse off in the end.
That's wow. They just really don't know how to do Spider-Man in Japan, do they?
I reckon if they did a Spider-Man nowadays, he'd probably have likely have a Japanese name.
Yeah.
But he'd adapt enough of it to be consistent with certain things of the Spider-Man legacy.
Yeah.
Like not a straight adaptation, but just enough that you take bits and pieces. Maybe he'll work for a newspaper. Maybe he'll be a photographer. That sort of bit. It doesn't need to be a straight one-to-one adaptation.
No.
Because then, how many times have we seen Spider-Man's history relayed again and again? How many times can one man go to school?
Yeah.
And have life troubles,
Yeah. And even though him going to school was like the smallest part of the comics, but
Yeah. Even though he's going to college as well, right? We're going to count in education because I think he went to Empire State University. Unless I'm only thinking of. Wait, hold on. No, but he went college, university.
No, in America,
because the American system's different from ours.
Yeah. Their college is university.
Yeah.
And but right, back to this show, right?
Did you prefer that he was a grown man with some sort of career already, where we weren't seeing a teenage? Because look, they could have done an adaptation where the little boy essentially had the spider powers, and I would have been like, I don't know about him.
I don't know because I never know what he is. I never know if this guy is a teenager or a man. It's like there's nothing said.
He's a teenage man.
yeah. But like nothing's really said about him. Like you don't really learn anything sort of about the guy. He's just like sort of just there. He's just sort of just there, and then turns to Spider-Man and gone again. And he's
it's one of those things where so not the way I was looking at it, but okay. So Hal Jordan is a test pilot, right?
Yeah.
Except that most of the time in his comics, sometimes we don't even see him do test pilot stuff. We just see him in the space adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, right, So the Jeff Johns runs where it was after Green Lantern Rebirth,
Yeah.
and Jeff Johns, he's gonna be he's Hal Jordan's like, fighter pilot, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a massive section of comics where we know he can come back to Earth.
Yeah. And then he come back and they say like he's fired, and he's like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, he comes back to Earth as Green Lantern to do the Green Lantern stuff, and it disappears again when but as Hal Jordan, well, apparently, apparently you don't need a place to live.
Yeah.
You don't need records. You don't need money. I don't know. You could just sleep in the Justice League Tower. But then we got to think about it like this, right? Hal Jordan's disappeared, and none of his friends are like the people that don't know he's Green Lantern, right? The people that he works with or whatever he interacts with, and they're like, "Where's this? Why is he gone for so long?"
Maybe it's no flakes. They're like, it's just Hal. He just disappears for a while. He just disappears. He's that kind of friend. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. The friend you can't trust, of course. Like we said, right? If you was Guy Gardner, you wouldn't trust Hal Jordan with your lady.
No.
But yes, sorry, you're saying back to this.
Yeah. So, like, what is the actual plot of this show?
Exactly. That's a good question.
Like,
Moving on.
I kind of followed a bit of it where, like, where the Iron Cross army have come to Earth for something. I don't know what they've come for.
Yeah, and to take over, I was assuming.
Yeah, like, they don't really have a mission statement or anything. Like, it's weird. And what made me laugh as well, that the big bad guy's called Professor Monster. I was like...
Yeah.
Took all of 2 seconds to think of that name.
Well.
So many other cooler things you'd have called him, but Professor Monster.
Well, no. I will say sometimes with the Japanese, I don't want to say direct translations and stuff like that, but
yeah.
Hey, look, Akuma is Akuma, and that means demon.
Yeah. So it sounds cool.
Okay. But Mr. Satan
sounds cool.
But I say at that point, Dr. Monster is not exactly anything that is out of the ordinary when you compare it to all the other ones.
I know, like it's just...
I mean, no, you're not wrong, first of all, but secondly, it's just like, if you're saying, well, the other people have other titles which are kind of similar,
It's just weird, like, it just seems lazy.
We got people like Ryu and Ken, which are like Dragon and Fist, respectively, and then you put them together to make Dragon Punch.
Yeah, well, again, like, at least Ken is a real name, you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
I don't know, it's like, it just seems, if he were called like General Monster, as he is the leader of the Iron Cross army, would have made more sense, right? But
okay.
But Professor Monster, I was like, okay. And then you got that woman who is always in disguise, but the most obvious woman ever.
Yes. Amazonia?
Yeah, something like that. And
okay, this lady is something, I have to say. Like, the plot could start, the story could start with nothing to do with nothing, right?
Nothing to do with nothing, and then she would just appear.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other female character in the thing, the other Japanese female character, turns out to be her afterwards, you know? Yeah. In disguise or whatever it is. It's just like, okay, you know what?
How many times can you do this? I mean, like, how many times can you... Before he gets old, he got old really quick. Like, I think
because then you start watching episodes and start thinking, is that really just her?
Yeah. Because at one point where she was working with the sister somewhere, and then they find out it was her, and you don't see her there anymore. So she goes back to doing disguises and other stupid plans they have. It's like,
yeah.
I don't know.
What do you think of the Super Sentai poses that he keeps on doing? Like, when he does a pose and then it's 3 different angles of the same pose. And then he moves again for the last one from the same angle as the first one, right? And you're like, oh wait, did he just kind of shift around multiple times at the same spot?
He got boring really quickly.
Yeah.
Really quick. Like, even his, like, weird ninja run got boring really quick. Like,
oh yeah,
why do you run like that? That's weird.
Yeah. And you're saying, right? I mean, I will agree with you. As a curiosity, fine. But when I say sit down and watch 40 episodes, even though like 22 minutes each, and and have Super Sentai vibes, right?
Yeah.
Do you need to watch this? Nah. It's not as epic as the Spider-Verse made out to be. Let me put it out.
No, yeah, exactly. They oversold it, man. Like, oh, okay, that's cool.
If there was an animated movie done now, right, it'd be epic.
Yeah, it'd be epic, yeah. Because it'll make sense.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Because then when he calls leopardon and they do all the magical transformations, stuff like that, yeah. They make it look so much better than it was. Yeah. Nowadays, I would say, look, it is a thing for its time.
Yeah, it's product of time, yeah.
But would you even say it was a good product for its time?
No. No.
Yeah, I would also agree.
Because like
it's not amazing and it's not terrible, but it's just like even if you take into account we're watching it so much later, it's like comparable to you could watch something like Power Rangers, and still feel like you watched this essentially.
Yeah.
And Power Rangers has a better kind of more fun, a vibrant vibe to it.
Yeah, and like even though Power Rangers, right, a lot of it isn't serialized. Like, so you know what I mean, like episodes don't. Some episodes link on, some don't. You kind of watch most of it like in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
Like this is like that. This is worse than that because I don't feel there's any episodes that like link onto another episode, or maybe I'm out of it that much. I don't really understand.
I feel like unless it's a 1 part or 2 part, or it's the first episode and last episode, you kind of don't really. Actually, I think I might have started in the middle somewhere. I accidentally watched an episode that's from the middle rather than the beginning for some reason, right? You know, you just click on it and then you're like, oh, you might have accidentally just clicked through to the wrong one. Anyways, so I thought, oh, maybe he started in the middle. I mean, maybe he started with his powers, and then it'll go to a flashback or something like that. But no, I actually found it right episode 1. But still, point is to say, I could have watched that one random episode and still been like, okay.
Yeah, I haven't missed anything.
Which, by the way, is something, you know, that I don't necessarily like that okay. You know when we watched Superman and Lois, and it's just one long story essentially.
Yeah.
Do you prefer that, or do you prefer, you know how like some series, like The Flash, we'll say, where you've got bits and pieces of the Reverse Flash stuff, while there's individual episodes which are not connected to that.
See, I like a mixture of both. Like, I don't mind the save like The Flash. So, say like the first couple of episodes are sort of linked, and then you got ones in the middle that has a kind of hint to what's happened before, but they're like sort of standalone-ish. And then it wraps back round to the story near the end. I don't mind that. Yeah. Like this, how it starts, it feels like it's gonna be like that. But then, again, you're gonna have to tell me how it show ends. But from how far I got, I was like, I don't really see any sort of like connection.
No, it doesn't. Like you were saying about, okay, so Superman and Lois.
Yeah.
I know. On average, 13 episodes. I know the last season was had less, but let's just say it's 13 episodes. And like you're saying, right? I think if they were going to do something like that, they should add like a couple of more episodes, which might not be linked to the main story, just so you can do like not in a day in a life or slice of life or something like that. But then you got like stuff that is if you miss an episode, you can watch Daredevil Born Again, where they had the bank episode. You know, sometimes you got to be like, I can accept that something doesn't always connect to the main story. It's just a random thing that happened that day.
Yeah.
Because like even so, we say we don't encounter any Spider-Man enemies in this, right? And then like I say in the Spider-Man the manga, any Spider-Man enemies they do encounter end up dying, right?
Yeah.
Here it's like, no Spider-Man enemies whatsoever, which is fine. But you would have thought like they could have a random episode where they're fighting a lizard man, and you'd be like, oh yeah, you know, because there's many Spider-Man enemy that they could have adapted, even though it's not connected to that particular story.
Yeah,
like you could have got a dude dressed up as a scorpion or a rhino or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like enhanced powers, or like the spider totems, but not really. You know?
Yeah, or even it could have made one of the monsters. They could easily have done those monsters as one of the random Spider-Man villains or whatever. Yeah. But it's just like there was something. There was something. Like, for example, right? The episode where he goes to this ghost village or whatever, because that kid turns up and goes, "You're Spider-Man." Like, "How you know I'm Spider-Man? I'm not Spider-Man. How you don't know I'm Spider-Man?" And then like the kid just appears at his house and he goes, "Oh, I'm telepathic." Like, where does this come from?
Yeah.
Where does this come from? And then the whole, we live in a secluded place and we keep the peace by sacrificing someone to this monster. And then the Iron Cross Army somehow get involved. And like, wait.
Yeah, is that the one where they were pretending to the leader has a switch or something like that, and so it was one of those things where they pretending there was a monster that existed.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the one where they took his sister? Was it his sister or someone he knew?
No, I think it was the ghost sister. Well, I'll say the ghost.
Oh yeah. So yeah. And then they're like, "Thank you, Spider-Man," at the end while they disappear, right?
They say Spidey-Man. Then they kind of like do some mind thing to him. He's like, ah. Then he wakes up outside their special city, whatever, and it's all blocked off. Oh, I can't go back in. But I know this was real because I remember these two people. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. I'm like, all right. I mean, like you said in the beginning, it's like when people take psychedelics during their time, and it's like, yeah, well, they might well have because there's some strange goings on here.
It doesn't make any lick of sense, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yeah. I think the legacy of this, if Dan Slott didn't put them in Spider-Verse, I think you wouldn't have known about it.
Yeah, you
wouldn't have researched about it. You wouldn't have, no curiosity about it, right?
No, could have went my life and not knowing and being happy.
Yeah. And I'm kind of glad that like, okay, yes, there's cameos and stuff like that of around the Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse. But like you're saying, it's like without that, I wouldn't have needed to know anything about this, you know?
No, but it hasn't bettered my life knowing that this exists. Anything, like I've probably lost a lot of bandwidth in my brain because I had to watch this and kind of remember things from it.
That is fair. I will say, yeah.
So
I mean, look, will I watch it again? Nah, I don't think I will.
All right, so walk me through what happens in the end then, because
well, the story continues as is. The adventure continues. It's one of those things where you're like, okay. So surely season 2 will wrap up stuff, maybe?
Yeah.
No.
Oh. So there's no.
I can't read. Go on.
Well, so there's no epic. Let's say epic battle because all the fights with the monsters last literally 2 seconds. He called that leopardon, calls out the sort of power sort of Vigo of it is, and then shoots at him, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, essentially, it's not. Yeah, it's just like they said in the comics, by the way, you know?
Yeah.
Where they say to him, yeah, why didn't you just call out leopardon right away to wipe out whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well, that'll make everything too easy. But yeah, essentially, it's it's nothing.
I also feel, right, about this show, right? It's nothing I feel about it. That they don't know how to write endings because literally... You could every end of every episode is exactly the same as the last one. Like that fight will happen, and then it'll be like, "Well, Spider-Man learned a lesson today. That this person, blah blah blah," and he'll hopefully go and get the Iron Cross Army, and it said to be continued. And and it's him driving his car or whatever. I'm like, what?
Yep, exactly. So you wouldn't
Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
It's not. It's one of those things where you're like, okay, as like in Power Rangers, right? Where they finally defeat. I wouldn't say they defeat. Do they defeat Repulsor, but they don't really?
They kind of do. Well, the last episode don't. They kind of beat her in the episode of the first episode of the next season.
Yeah,
and that's when the swap over with her and Zed happened. Because they kind of with Power Rangers, they kind of like wrap it up in a way, like.
But they don't really look. Or in Power Rangers, they don't deal with. Okay, so there's no definitive ending for Rita Repulsa. While at a certain point, she just disappears and other enemies take over, and then eventually she gets turned back into a human, right? Because of the Lord Zed thingamajig. He convert the Lord Zed conversion tech. Not Lord Zed. Sorry. Zardon.
Yeah.
He does
the end
pulse
of
waves to turn
space
people into
good. Yeah. But then it kind of retcons that out because it's from Power Rangers. Then Now Forever, it's called. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, no. That was what's it called? That was a robot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was the Rita Repulsa robot, Robo Rita.
Yeah. Who we said? Yeah. Oh yeah, there was a copy from something else that we said, and I forgot what it was now. Yeah.
The what? Sorry.
Like we said that whole Rita, the robot Rita.
Mm.
Oh no, I said yes. It's a copy from something from happens in Justice League Unlimited, the cartoon. Yeah. Where how they brought back Dark Side. Yeah.
But yeah. So I will say Japanese. Look, if someone asks you about it, say your brother asks you about Japanese Spider-Man now that you watched it, and I'm sure he's read the Spider-Verse comics, right?
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh yeah, so Carl, leopardon, right?" And what would you say to him?
I'll say leopardon. No, like don't waste your time. It's
okay.
Like even leopardon. Okay, I get it from the 70s, right? It doesn't look cool at all either. It's just it doesn't do anything.
Oh well. I will say he looks. No, okay. He doesn't look as good as the Megazord, right?
No. But again, it's
or
like
the 10 years
or
anything like that, right?
Yeah. It's like 10 years before they come out. So.
You know what? Now, the more you think about it, the more you're probably right.
It's just again, if it looked more spider themed, it would have made more sense, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
The only thing they kind of you could tell there was a last minute adjustment was like his knee like the knee pad sort of thing had like spider web sort of shape. That's it. The only thing that's kind of spider like. I mean, he doesn't shoot webs. He has a sword. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Spider-Man's powers in this makes no sense. But carry on. Like he has spider DNA, right?
Yeah. Well, no, isn't the? I thought the thingamajig gave him the powers. The. Oh yeah. Sorry, no. I'm thinking of something else.
Where he gives blood transfusions to so many people, and they end up getting spider powers, and it's never come back to whatsoever.
Yeah.
The show. Oh, the show.
Look. You're I have to say, it's funny enough as well. I'm trying to say, oh, you're overhating, but at the same time, you're hating about the right amount. Funny enough,
because the thing is, I didn't even think of none of this when I was watching. It's just now because we're talking about. I was like, yeah, it's wrinkling my brain. It doesn't make any logical sense.
Yeah, it's not great.
No,
is it terrible? It could be worse, but at the same time, that doesn't mean like.
And another thing about this show, right? Another thing about this show, all right? Yeah. His spider bracelet has that power to like somehow when the bad guys are in disguise, his spider bracelet can like make him not be in disguise anymore. Okay, cool, makes no sense. Yeah, but then also, right? His spider sense makes no sense.
Yeah,
there's a bit where he's like in the field, whatever, riding his bike as he always does, and then say someone he knows getting attacked or whatever, and then he goes, "My spider sense is telling me that something is happening at this address."
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's times where he just appears at the place without even, like the episode with the kid and his granddad, right? Whose granddad was a robber or something like that, and the bad guys kidnap the granddad and then kill him because they somehow push off a cliff.
This is what first of all, that's what villains do.
Push him off a cliff. You see the ragdoll, so he lands. And he's like, I'll never tell you about the, and then dies, right? So then they make a double, they clone him. As again, nothing ever, never mentioned before, but they can clone people.
Well, cool. Apparently, wackiness is the way to go, right? Yeah.
So, but before that, so the bad guy, Amaness, or whatever the name is, right? She goes to the kid's house and starts child abuse, starts beating the kid up and everything, right? And then
villains. By the way, I accept that from villains because that's what they'll do.
And I accept it was the 70s. They probably didn't have kids right when it comes to acting and stuff. But anyway,
wait. On just to tag on the end of that, yeah.
Yeah.
It's only later in the years that you hear people suing their parents for beating them, right?
Yeah.
Back in those days,
it's like,
you just had to take it, you know?
Yeah, which he did. And then Spider-Man just appears. No interaction with the kid before. Well, he that's another weird thing, but I'll get into that in a minute as well. Yeah, he just appears there and like, okay, that's normal. And another weird thing about this show with Spider-Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, he's like, kids just come up to him willy-nilly, like, oh, you got a nice motorbike, let's be friends. He's like, yeah, sure. Like,
or even when he's in the Spider-Man guys, and they're like, oh yeah, Spider-Man, come save us.
Yeah.
We all trust you, apparently. But
wait, what?
Yeah,
okay.
I will say this on a side note, right?
Yeah.
I have seen the other 70s Spider-Man series, which we'll get to, right?
Yeah,
so I don't know if I'm mixing up bits and pieces here or there. And I obviously, from the way that you're talking about this series, I don't encourage you to watch that, except for maybe the pilot episode, so we got something to speak about, right?
Yeah.
And it's only 12 episodes long, but that will be the next episode. But yeah, so I've had my picks of the 70s across America and Japan, by the way. So some things are kind of getting together in my head. So because even at the time period, and you want to say, right, they shows that they were both done Reddit, I think about the same year. And some of the same themes run across both of them.
That makes sense, yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, right, yeah. Yeah, because the other Spider-Man was 1977 was the pilot.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go too much there, but, so it's, and this was 1978, right? Yeah. So, yeah. Wow. So, my mind is kind of just full of 70s Spider-Man stuff. And that, even though the costumes are quite, they're not the exact, they're not exactly the same, but then when you see just Spider-Man doing Spider-Man stuff, you just be like, oh, wait, which Spider-Man was it?
Yeah, because they both look...
Because I want to say, the film, great, like, yeah, as long as you... Like, the footage might be different, right? But if you're, like, just watching it back to back to back, and you're like...
Yeah, it blends into one.
Yeah.
Especially, like, the only thing that makes you different is yay, wow!
Yeah. The only thing that's different is there's a bunch of white people in one of them and a bunch of Japanese people in the other one. You know what I mean? But once it's in the Spider-Man costumes, it's like, you can tell.
Yay.
All I know is that one Spider-Man fights monsters and the other one doesn't.
Yeah, that's the only... But then, again, it all blends into one at some point.
Yeah.
Yay, wow.
Yeah, so when I say to you... Like, you're saying you're going to watch the Spider-Man, the US Spider-Man 70s pilot episode, right? At least, yeah?
Yes.
I know it had 2 theatrical movies, which weren't really theatrical movies because they were just like 2 episodes put together, right? And you don't have to watch that. Yeah, I won't make you watch those. If you're feeling frisky, maybe, right? But it's up to you. I will say just watch the pilot, so at least you got a base to go off, right?
So it's very hot. Yeah.
Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, because I believe it might be better than this. But then,
my
hopes are very low. So,
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm bringing that bit up now because I'm like, I don't know if you want to set your expectations higher or lower, depending, right? I will say this one is more wild than that one.
Oh.
And there's stuff that I would want to say now about that one, but I'm like, leave it be because we'll
you're just the surprise. You're like, oh.
Well, no, it's not a surprise or anything. It's just like stuff that they could have done, but they
didn't.
There's stuff they didn't need to reimagine everything because they didn't need to. But there's other stuff they could have taken from the comics, and we're not saying villains or anything like that. But you could have run certain things, taken other aspects. There are some aspects that the Spider-Man manga took too much of the life stuff,
Yeah, it went too far. Yeah.
But we'll let that be for while you only watch this 90-minute pilot. Yeah, because there's wacky hypnosis and all this other stuff involved, and Night of the Clones as well. Well, yes, there were clones before the Jackal did clones. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So they had in China, he's a notable actor of some. He was going to be Andy Lau actually, but for some reason he didn't do it.
Okay.
So yeah, they had some additional scenes for the Chinese version of Iron Man 3. Where Iron Man went to not Robert Downey Jr., not Tony Stark, right? Iron Man was at this guy's the doctor's kid's birthday party or something like that.
Yeah.
And so at least there's relevance because then the doctor does the heart surgery later on and stuff like that. But there's additional footage, and people are like, okay, fair enough. I get it when people say, oh, they do that to boost the sales in China, right? Yeah. But you're saying, like if there's if in Japan they decided to insert this No Way Home footage, right? It'd just be for the Japanese audience, really, wouldn't it? Yeah. This footage of the emissary of hell out of nowhere, leopardon in the background, yeah.
Okay, that was random, but they'll get it. We won't. But
what would have been funny actually was when they the lizard chased MJ and Ned through a portal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if they ended up in the Japanese Spider-Man's cave or something like that, and then ran back out or something,
Yeah, that'd be like, oh, okay, cool.
They were inside leopardon. That's probably be a bit too much.
Yeah, a bit. Yeah, a bit too much for no payoff, really, isn't it? Because he's gonna get it. Yeah.
But do you think did did they make an appearance in Spider-Verse, the animated movies?
I'm not too sure. I think they did.
Like Beyond the Spider-Verse, I don't think they were in there, right?
That I'm not 100% sure because there's something in my head saying yeah, but then now I think no.
Right. Do you think they'll make an appearance in
The Edge of the
it's Beyond the Spider-Verse, right?
Yeah, Beyond the Spider-Verse. I get Edge of the Spider-Verse. Yeah. The end. Wait, that's the comic. Never mind. Wait, let me see.
What was that?
No, for some reason I thought it was called the End of Spider-Verse, but that's something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it could be.
But that'd be quite a definitive end. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe they'll put him in there as a throwaway, sort of look, it's him.
Okay. So you're saying, yes. Okay. If they made this if they made a Japanese they made a Toei Spider-Man anime, would you watch it? Based on this, by the way, on. No, I wouldn't say necessarily a continuation, but just be it's this guy, and we're doing an anime version of it.
I would say yeah, because we're in the future now, and I think there's better writing being done. So yeah, I would.
Okay. Anime generally, yeah. Okay, if this was an anime, if this was an anime in the 70s, you still would not watch it.
No, because it would be as terrible as this. That's bad, mate.
But would you say the costumes and all that stuff would look better or would you say the 70s animation would take you out of it?
Probably animation would take me out of it. But then they might be able to do more would make it make sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So.
All right, but if they did if they did one in the 90s or in the mid 2000s or something like that, anime of this, would you watch it? Would you be like, okay,
I don't know,
I'll check it out.
The idea, I'm gonna use this as an example, right? The idea of, remember when Marvel did the Spider-Man, X-Men, Wolverine anime, right?
Yeah.
And on paper they were okay, but then you watch them, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
I mean, to be fair, they looked good. Whether they were actually good.
Yeah, I only watched the X-Men one. I didn't watch the others,
But you're not talking about, by the way, the Japanese anime intro for the X-Men animated series.
No, which is very misleading. No.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, so cool, but it's so misleading. None of that actually happens. But
yeah. Not only that, they don't look like they're animated in that style whatsoever. I would be cheesed off if I was watching something expecting that style, because you think the style is consistent, right?
Yeah.
But it's like for comic books when they have the covers by guest artists or whatever, the person's just not drawing the interiors.
Yeah.
The art style is similar, fine, right?
Yeah.
Or relative to it. But if it's completely different, the inside doesn't. It's like why? I'm getting enough, by the way. If you have like people like Alex Ross doing covers and stuff like that, that's a different thing, right? But when you just like, oh, you're gonna get someone like Jim Lee to do a cover, right? And then when you open the book inside, and it's like, nah, this is not Jim Lee art.
Jim Lee.
Yeah.
This is nowadays Frank Miller. That's what it is.
Whoa.
But yeah, didn't mean that.
Nowadays, Frank Miller. Yeah, I mean, you're not talking about, by the way, the Sin City style art.
No, I'm talking about literally. Have you seen his like recent variant covers for like I think it's Wolverine, Spider-Man. Oh, and there's something else. They look. Ooh.
Yeah. Look, I like Frank Miller's Sin City style, and that is stylized, right?
Yeah.
But I can't. I mean, to be fair, how old's the guy now? 60 plus. So.
For some reason, I always thought he was older than I don't know why.
I know because he looks older. That's why he is.
I for some reason thought he was like in his 80s, but yeah, he just looks like he's in his 80s. That sounds so bad. But yeah.
No, actually, you might be right. I might be thinking that.
No, he's 68. I literally just googled it. He's 68.
Oh, okay.
I just thought he was. For some reason, I thought he was older. I don't know why.
Yeah. So you're talking about the artwork style that he did for Holy Terror, or and Dark Knight 2, or you took him beyond that?
Beyond that, like recently, he's a variant covers. They look. Ooh.
Okay, hold on. No, okay. I know this has got nothing to do with Toei Spider-man, but actually, let me just check this out now. Hurry and because you're making me curious.
Yeah, it's not there.
Variant covers, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Is this the one with the Thing and?
Yeah, with the Thing one, Wolverine.
See, the Daredevil one doesn't look too bad.
Yeah. It's.
But the Wolverine, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
Yeah. It's not that great.
Yeah, the Wolverine one is, not looking good at all.
And the Saber, if you see the Sabretooth one, that's even kind of worse.
Oh my goodness, on Sabretooth, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, no, you're gonna have to carry back to Toei Spider-Man while I have a look for this.
There's lots of, but I believe they were trying to do something good. It just didn't,
Oh my goodness.
You see it, right?
Sabretooth, where he looks almost like the Vulture.
Yeah.
If you coloured him green.
Yep.
You would have thought it was the Vulture.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well. Anyways, Toast. Yeah. So you're saying it feels more modern anime style. We're talking about, let's say, something like, I know we're talking about. Okay, not the 3D Dragon Ball looking stuff, but like something like that. Yeah, you would watch.
Yeah, I'll watch. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But you wouldn't watch Dragon Ball, right?
No.
But you would watch. Okay. The beginning of Z, which is still in the 80s, you would still watch that or not?
I don't know, because I don't think I'll try. I don't know. I think I'll give it a try. Maybe because I watched it in like the late 90s, early 2000s, it was okay to me, and I have like fond memories. But I don't think.
But now you're saying you wouldn't watch even GT?
I watch GT.
Yeah.
I watch GT because I think.
No. You would watch it now though.
Yeah, I watch
that 90s. Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just.
So you're saying from the Boo saga on from after Goku dies, after the Cell saga, that's when you pick up watching, or?
I'll say after actually no, because I like the Frieza saga in general, so I can get past the
animation. Yeah, but I'm talking about the animation, not the story.
The animation in later Frieza's all right,
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Namek saga, well, the Frieza, so not the Namek saga, but the Frieza saga,
Frieza saga, yeah.
Okay.
I can watch from that onwards. Like I don't think I can go back to watch like the beginning of Z. It would.
I'm curious for someone to make a this Spider-Man anime or this one-off Spider-Man 70s movie.
Yeah.
To the current. Okay, if they redid it, do you reckon they would do it in that era? Like as though how sometimes they do things where it's modern art style based in that era, or would you say let's just update it to the modern era?
Update it to the modern era, man.
Yeah, just like like Sherlock on the BBC, right?
Yeah.
Just like forget the 18th century now, just like boom, or the late 19th or whatever it is, right? No, the early 19th, yeah. Just like straight up nowadays sort of thing.
Yeah, just do it that way. That's what I would do.
Okay. I can.
That's me.
See, I wouldn't mind it. The thing is, I wouldn't mind either ish. Sometimes I think you can get away with things back in that era more than you can this era because you can say, "Oh, it's sci-fi from that time." Like if you watch Star Trek the original series.
Yeah.
And you see them flicking keyboards and all that stuff, and the light ups, and you're like,
That's just lights. Yeah.
All right. But it's the 60s; they wouldn't know. Like when they have the transponder communicator thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, back in the 60s, where they're like, no, such things will never exist because microchips are too big. And then you're like, yeah, well, now things are even smaller than that. So,
like,
yeah.
My phone's more powerful than all the computers I had back then.
Yeah, exactly.
Which are the size of
exactly.
Houses.
Yeah.
Crazy. Oh.
Yeah, but okay. So if there was a more so you're not hating on the ideas behind it, right? You just disliking the execution of the series.
Yes.
Execution. Yeah. Okay.
I just feel like it's going.
Okay. So if they just took the certain specifics, right, the theme of it, and just be like, here's a modern up. You know what it is though, as well. It's these episodes are short in length, right? But they seem like jam packed. Yeah. And they move. They don't move at the fastest pace.
No, that's why that's what I'm saying. Like I believe that they don't have to finish a story because the ends literally just like that.
Yeah.
Like the last 2 minutes of the show is literally like Leopold, Marvel, transform into Leopold, throw sword, and then more of the story and end. Like.
Yeah. Well, you got to finish where you got to finish, right? Yeah, apparently.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I yeah. I'm trying to. I mean, look. The positive I can take away from this show is that it's not a Peter Parker style story. This man's got a different life. It's in a different in a different place, right? So that's something. It's fresher by taking the gimmick,
yeah,
and just moving it and starting from the ground up.
Yeah, which give them that, but again, they could have just named it something else.
Yeah, like you're saying, right? It's 40 episodes, but there need to be 40 episodes. Even though like 40 episodes are 22 minutes, right? But then because some of them are like proper. I get it if you're doing the Flash or whatever, right? And you got 22 episodes and some of them are filler, even Smallville, right?
Yeah.
But some of this is like filler, and you don't even need that.
No, there's no character development in it.
Yeah.
I don't mind if filler is to like develop character, right? But there's none of that.
But mostly it's like you said, solo episodes, which sometimes also feel filler, which is all a bit weird.
Must make no sense. Yeah.
yeah, because it's like, all right, I get it. But this could have been an episode, like, does it need to be here? Probably not, you know?
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah. All in all, you're saying, what are you saying that? Are you saying the double thumbs down or single thumbs down, or would you just say, are you like a shrug because it's like
literally like.
yeah, okay, I get it. It's like it does try something different. The best compliment I can give is it tries something different. How much it succeeds, all right, but enough of the different elements there that you can be like, okay, I respect what they tried to do.
I respect you, Bookerman, for trying.
Yeah. But nowadays, I guess it's, as long as the I say the legacy of Spider-Man, but I guess now that it's at that point, and it was like a couple of years, like 15 years in or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And now, if they were doing adaptations, they would be like, okay, there's certain elements that are key to Spider-Man. We should keep those elements, even though they don't need to.
Yeah.
Right. But I think they'd be more mindful of legacy nowadays.
Yeah.
In certain things, even if it's like so you got Marvel doing Marvel stuff, right? But if someone's asked them for the like if someone in someone in another country was like, oh yeah, can we license whatever off you to do our version of it?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, all right, it's kind of tell me what you.
Yeah, they're more picky with what you can do with their characters now, which is
yeah.
I think is a good thing to do.
Yeah, because I will say, at certain times, when companies need money, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, just take our license, just give us the money because we need to stay afloat."
Yeah.
Like when Marvel was getting bankrupt in the mid-90s, and they started selling licenses for everything, and then we almost got the James Cameron Spider-Man movie. I don't know if you read about that.
I read about that, and it didn't sound great to me.
Doctor Octopus, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Doctor Octopus. Yeah. Maybe I don't think they said specifically, but because it was James Cameron at that time, that people were like, "All right, can I imagine it? I don't know." So, Leonardo DiCaprio as Peter Parker. Yeah. I think that's what they were going for.
Because I could see the relationship between Cameron and Arnold, or I could see him doing it.
Yeah. But, no. As there's also the one where he, as Spider-Man, not as Peter Parker, he saves Mary Jane, and then they hook up at the top of the Empire State Building. Yeah. Not State Building, bridge. Yeah. And it's like, what? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
That didn't happen.
And then I think was it Electro and Sandman were the villains, which was a bit random as well.
Yeah, it was. Lots of it just didn't make any sense. And I know that, yeah, because I think X-Men was one of the things that made Marvel become like really picky. But who they give what they can let like studios do, because they named Rogue in it. Because in the comics, Rogue didn't have any name.
Oh yeah, it's true. It's true.
They named her, and that's why they did the X-Men Origin comic, Wolverine Origins.
Yeah.
To give Wolverine a origin they wanted, rather than the films like, oh, by the way, this is his origin, and like, okay, crap, we've got
yeah. But just as we're talking about it, then before we go back into that, right?
Yep.
Do you prefer this Spider-Man series to what would have been James Cameron's Spider-Man script?
No, because that
makes
sense. Even though much I didn't like it, that made sense.
What, the Spider-Man? The James Cameron Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Okay. Is it because they would have got Octavius, which is German sound name, played by an Austrian.
Yeah.
Who was a bodybuilder.
Yeah, because everyone's the same when you're in America. So I'm joking. That's not America.
Yeah.
Like all four.
Okay, but you were saying about you think they came out with the Wolverine Origins comic just so they were heading off the movieverse, the Fox universe.
Yeah. They said, like, I remember hearing Marvel. I was listening to something when it actually had people with Marvel saying, yeah, that's why they did it, because they didn't know that they read the script for X-Men 1, but they didn't know about the bit where they named Rogue Anne. Is her name Anne? Whatever her name is, I can't remember. Anne-Marie? Anyway. And I was like, okay, we need to sort out some of our characters before the next ones come out, just in case they give characters an origin or something that we don't know about. And because by that point, Wolverine's origins was always like made up because he has like so much brain damage, and they're like, okay.
I think the gimmick of Wolverine is that we don't know what his origin is.
Yeah.
And then when they did his origin, you're like,
yeah. Which I didn't.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
It wasn't a deep mystery.
No. Okay. Yeah. So that was a response to that, and then I think that's why in House of M and stuff as well, they gave Wolverine his memories back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, was it worth it in the end? I don't know.
Because like, did it really play a big part later on? Not really.
No. You're absolutely right there. You're absolutely right there. But yeah, yeah. But that's what the part of the good thing for this is they had no conflicts with anything, because they were like, well, he's Spider-Man, and we already called him the Emissary of Evil, and he's got a big, massive robot, so...
Yeah, and it's in Japan.
We didn't even call him Peter Parker, so we're all clear of that as well.
And even as well, like, because it's like... It's not like now...
And he has the Iron Cross Army as well. We everything in here is completely different, Yeah,
even when I hear Iron Cross Army, I get, like, Nazi vibes from it, but...
Yeah, but I think that's what they kind of wanted to do without doing.
Yeah.
Ish. You remember in X-Men First Class?
Yeah.
Where they had where it was Sebastian Shaw's where they took over the planet or whatever it is, yeah? And then they had the red flag with the white circle and the black insignia inside it, but it wasn't a Nazi insignia.
Yeah.
It was like it was like a a one line and then two and an X in the middle or something like that, which is vaguely similar.
Yeah, but
so you got the idea of what they were trying to do without them doing it.
I'm alright with that. But yeah, that's what what was I saying? So yeah, it's a thing.
You could have done without this series, is what you're saying, right? You didn't need to spend your time on it.
No.
But you don't hate it?
No.
It's just like it is what it is.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that is fine. If we weren't recording this, I wouldn't have watched it either. I wouldn't have gone my way to watch it. So I would have gone out of my way to not out of my way. I would have watched the 70s one because I knew I knew it was on TV at the time, and I would have been like, you know what? Let me catch up to this X amount of years later, just like I did for Power Rangers, just like we did Power Rangers the movie.
Yeah.
Where I was waiting for 30 plus years, and it was it worth it? Well, you know, I mean, there's nothing where it was a wackiness of enough wackiness where I'm like, you know what? Okay, but it wasn't it wasn't worth a 30-year wait. I tell you that.
But at least with Power Rangers, that was like a worldwide phenomenon, right? So
yeah. For sure.
Yeah, no one remembers it. Yeah. Sort of thing. I mean, like, so didn't miss out.
It is what it is. Yeah. Just like this series. It is what it is. It's nothing amazing. If you're curious, yes, but I'd probably say go to YouTube, find some clips.
Yeah.
Because then you get that meme clip of him with the machine gun blasting people. Yeah. And then you probably find a recap series or whatever that'd probably be more entertaining than watching the entire series. Yeah. Because I don't want to say it gets to a slog, yeah, but it does. A lot of like it the pace is leisurely, and that's the problem.
Yeah. And then it ramps up, and you're like, okay, that was.
Yeah. You know, as soon as you saw the enemies, you could have called leopardon. So I don't, you know, all the Marbler, you could have just been like, dealt with. You're saying people don't bother watching it, and I'm also saying you don't need to watch it either. I wouldn't give it necessarily a double thumbs down or anything like that. I'd just be like, you could go on living your life and not need to watch this.
Yes.
Not in a bad way, but you just don't need to spend the time on it.
Yeah, don't waste your time. What's the meme?
The way you're like, the way it's absorbed so much of your time and life and your mind, you're like, leave it be.
It has. It's given me like trauma.
Hey, look, I'm sure we've watched more things that for these episodes that are worse than this.
Yeah.
We have.
Like trauma was not worth it.
Yeah. All right. Well, okay. Before you get traumatized anymore, start going into a coma. We also sign up for this episode. I am the leader of the Iron Cross Army, CY Chung.
And I am the master of the skies, who everyone could tell it's me from a mile away, Kyle Charles. And thank you for listening to us rant about. That's not a rant. Listen to us talk about.
Well, you ran about it. I'm trying to defend. But the only thing I can defend is the one thing that I keep on defending. Other things, I'm like, you know.
They should have spoke more to the Western correspondents about this. Yes, us speak about Toei's Spider-Man from 1978.
It doesn't. By the way, it doesn't hold up.
Even
though you want to say the 70s, probably if I watched it in the 90s, I'd be like, I don't know about this either.
Still would have been terrible. If you want to watch it, you can find it on YouTube. That's on.
That's it.
What I did, I watched it. I took a leaf out your pages. I watched it at like 1.5 speed because I was like, I can't do this.
I will say as well, as we're going to say in advance, the 70s US Spider-Man is also on YouTube.
Oh yeah, there we go.
So if you want to watch that before we get to the review, or if you want to watch the pilot, like you don't even have to watch it, by the way. But if it's there for you, if you want to.
Yeah, but viewers' discretion advised. It could be terrible. All right,
Well, it's the 70s. Did they have time? Did they have special effects back then? So you got to think about what. This is actually what's true about partial of this. Is like the stuff you can't do.
Yeah.
with the technology then. So should you even try?
Yeah.
Try a different way around it, maybe? I don't know,
Yeah. Why reach for the stars when you can't?
Yeah, and I'm not saying, by the way, special effects have to look good or everything, but it's the execution of what you do. Because sometimes, when you see cheap indie horror films and stuff like that, but they make the atmosphere.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Anyways, go on. Before, sidetracking you.
So, yes, thank you for watching us and listening to us talk about it. Let us know if you've watched it or even heard of it. Yeah, you can do that by leaving a comment down below if you watch this on YouTube, or you can contact us on our Instagram and Twitter. Also, I recently made a TikTok account as well there, so yeah, that will be added to the layout at some point because I need to figure out how to edit this. And yeah, don't forget to give us a 5-star review if you're listening to audio. Or even leave us a thumbs up if you're listening to YouTube. And yeah, until next time, guys, I'd like to thank you for taking a trip with us around the multiverse and tell leopardon I said go to hell. And see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.